Hi, it's Chris Titley here. As part of the Scoreboard podcast, I'm joined by Lauren Hume. Lauren, thank you so much for coming in and having a chat.
No worries, Chris. Thanks for bringing me in. I'm excited.
First question, 2024, we're sitting here in December already, and the humidity is starting to creep up here in Brisbane. How's your 2024 been?
Not too bad, actually. Started out the full year with my teaching after graduating mid-2023. So that's been probably a full year now of doing that, which I'm loving.
Coming up to school holidays?
I know, not that I'm counting down since the start of term 4.
Yeah.
But no, the students are great. And it's a great lifestyle to have as a triathlete, and then one that is progressing into the professional side of triathlon. So yeah, that's me, triathlete.
Yeah, excellent. And the teaching, the first year from prac to becoming the reality of teaching kids, how's it been?
Definitely what I expected, because the university definitely set us up for I guess what's to be expected. So in that sense it's been great, and just a lot of outside work, I guess, that goes into planning and all that side of things.
And a big year on the triathlete front as well. Do you want to talk about that?
Yeah, definitely. Very exciting. I'd say it's probably one of my most successful years, as well as one of my greatest learnings from, I guess. I've only been doing it since the end of 2021, so still fairly fresh into it, but coming from a sporting background with soccer and cricket, I've definitely got that, what do you call it? The competitiveness.
The competitiveness?
That's it. Self-competitiveness, probably more so.
So let's talk about the early love of sport, where that came from, and the sports that you played.
Yeah, so growing up in a small country town, Nanango, a bit west of Brisbane, there's really not that much, I guess, you can do other than come home from school and play outside. And I had an older brother and parents who just thrived off sports, so I really had no other option than to get either dragged outside by my brother or dad. Mum and dad were always super supportive of taking me down to the local nets or something and throwing balls at me.
Yeah, so cricket was the first love?
Cricket was, yeah.
And what's your position? What did you do?
I was a all-rounder by the kind of end of it. So left arm in swing.
Ah, there you go. There's not too many left armers floating around. So did the selection teams come up and you put your hand up and you're like, right?
I was going to say that probably helps me.
Huh? Almost like a wicketkeeper sometimes, yeah?
Into a few teams, yeah.
Yeah.
And then maybe third or fourth bat.
Right. Okay. And then talk to us about the junior cricket. How did that go, and how did that progress to where you ended up not becoming a cricketer? Yeah.
Yeah. So played all juniors with boys just because that's all that was around. And then I think it might have been in grade 6 or 7, I went through the schooling system, and they were girls teams. And then as I progressed, got older, then made Queensland teams, and just on the verge of Queensland Fire squad teams. So yeah.
Yep.
And then ultimately got a few injuries, and my body didn't like running sideways anymore. So.
Mm-hmm. Did you do the 4-over restrictions that the fast bowlers do now?
No, I didn't make those times. Yeah. Thank goodness.
And then you mentioned soccer as well.
Yeah. So soccer, same kind of situation. My brother was playing those two sports, always tagged along, and then similar pathways through schooling, and then state level teams. So yeah, again, but then injuries came about.
Yeah, what sort of injuries? Just niggling ones, or quite serious ones?
So my MCL, ACL.
Yep.
Got taken out by a car on a training ride on the bike, and then knees and legs didn't like going sideways anymore. So.
No, and then from that, what was the thinking around sport after getting so badly injured?
I always wanted to do something like I would either be like doing the gym or something, and then once I guess COVID hit, then I had to find something to like keep me like from not going stir crazy inside. So I was like, well, running and riding's really all I can do that's close to home and does like I can do by myself, because you weren't like obviously allowed any contact with other people. And then got super competitive, and it's probably something I'm working on, but I always used to really like one-upping myself each day. Like I had to like beat that session that I did, and then I guess that's kind of where triathlon's kind of cool, because you can do 3 sports and not have to be so like
Elite?
straightforward, with one.
Yeah.
And then I reckon my mindset would be too strong, if that makes sense. If I didn't like
in one sport you went like completely infatuated with being the best you possibly can.
Yeah.
But with 3, you're like, well, that gives me some variation, and then that way I can sort of focus on 3, which is great. It evens up the enthusiasm.
Well, I often get joked at that like I can't be good at 1, so I can be average at 3.
Yeah, well, on that, you did mention just before that you started swimming and running.
Yeah, or cycling and running.
Running, but swimming was out of the equation. There's 3 in triathlon, so
I always used to swim just like squads and stuff, as like any Australian Queensland kid does, I guess, and then got sick of following the black line, I guess, pretty quickly. So, and then I guess school got in the way, or not in the way, but had to kind of choose an avenue, and soccer and cricket at that time was a lot more appealing.
Yeah.
And I was doing better at which.
So come 2021, you started the interest in triathlons. Where or how did that come about?
Yes, I guess it was during the COVID, and running and riding was all you could do on your own, and I needed something that kept me busy and out of the house. And being a very competitive person, and just in general loving a sport and the endorphins that you get from being outside and being active, I guess. And then again, I got a very addictive personality, so I'm like, when you receive good feedback from either results or how you feel, then you want more of that, I guess. So.
What was your first race as a triathlon?
First race was a sprint distance, so that's pushing my knowledge here now. Maybe a 300 meter swim, a 10K. This is not accurate. 10K ride and a
modified smaller version, right?
Yeah, 5K run or something. Yep. And that was it. Just up the road, Moreton Bay at Redcliffe there. So, and then I think I got 5th there, and I actually had like a massive panic attack in the open water, because I just in general have a fear of open water. I think it's because like, one, you can't see what's underneath you, and it was super rough, like the water, and then I think the worst thing is like being stuck out in the middle of water and like no other option but to like have to swim back, or who knows. So, but so finishing that, I got 5th, and I was like, nah, I need to do better. I know I can do better. And then loving the training side of triathlon, I think, is something that has been the main thing.
Yeah, and then obviously we mentioned about the 3 different items in triathlon. What's your favourite?
Definitely the run, I think. Yeah, I guess soccer's always running, and then cross country just at school. And I guess I've probably over the years seen the biggest progress in the run, so that I guess reinforces like you can get better at this. And then I think it also, because like with the run, it's just on you, like there's no really external things that can stop you from running, I guess. It's just you and your own mind, or if your body physically forces you to stop. Where in the bike, you could have like a mechanical or flat tire or something. The swim, I don't know. The swim, just get in there and get out.
Yeah. That's the mentality of the swim. Get in, get out as fast as you can.
Yeah, literally.
Being new to the sport, there's probably a lot of science and data around what to eat and how to train and all these types of things, and coaches and what's good and what's bad the day before or the night of, and all that sort of, and sports tech. How have you gone about managing all of that from someone that's pretty new?
Yeah, it's definitely a whole different world, and there is so many options, and not one program, not one nutrition plan, not one tech advice is a one or fits all. So I've definitely tried to navigated my way around that. I've found a program, a coach, and like a coaching philosophy, I guess, that works for me. Technical stuff wise, I kind of just, there's kind of only one or two that are out there that, and just the people use, so I just stuck with those ones. And then the nutrition side, there's plenty of programs, but I would definitely recommend seeing a dietitian, but a sports triathlon dietitian, because it's very even just day to day, but more so like what you eat during a race, and needing to practice that leading into a race, because it could stuff up with your stomach and end your day.
How do you know how you're going when you're training, that other people might be training a bit harder, or they're not? They're maybe across the other side of the world or something, and you're like, I'm doing really well, but then you might, I don't know, might have a race and you're going, I come 17th. Right?
Yeah.
How does that sit with you?
So there are programs, one where you can upload your training profiles, and that's open to everyone to see. It's kind of like a Facebook account or something, where you can either give them access or not give them access. And I used to be super conscious of viewing what everyone around me was doing. When race lists came out, I would always see who I was racing against, and then I would go find their Strava profile and see what
You'd Strava stalk?
Yeah, Strava stalk, yeah. But
what happens if it was like a generic name, like Katie Smith or something?
Oh yeah, then you'd be like, oh,
which one is it? Just go to the top one. Oh, yeah. And you're scrolling through all these different profiles. I wonder which one it is, right?
Yeah, literally, yeah. But I've learnt a year ago, I think I gave up Strava because it was not good. It was not healthy for me at all, because I was one, overtraining, and then two, getting in trouble constantly from the coach for overtraining and all this, and I would just dig myself in a hole mentally, physically, everything. And since stopping that, it's been life-changing. I guess it's like anything, out of sight, out of mind kind of thing. I don't even think about Strava anymore or what other people are doing, because I've learned, I know what works for me, and if I deter from that, then come race day, if something doesn't work out, then it's my fault. It's not my coach's fault. It's not external factors' fault. It's my fault for not trusting what I've been given. And then, I'm probably more tired because I've overtrained or trying to one up that other person.
It's a bit of a weight off your shoulders.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. People say what's your Strava and all this? I'm like, I got no idea.
I wonder at a really elite level, like the Ash Bartys or LeBron James, etc., about the media, where they do the same thing and they just don't even worry about things, that they can just switch off domains. You think you've switched off that competitor Strava stalking to the point of now focusing on what you can control? And just on that topic about what you can control, you did mention physically and mentally, two very important things. How do you get on, keep on top of both of those as a triathlete? Obviously, physically is a lot tougher than a lot of other sports, and probably mentally as well.
So yeah, physically, I have learnt that less is more majority of the time. Recovery and nutrition are vital. I definitely underestimated / ignored any advice that was recovery or nutrition related, because I think I perceived success, I guess, as something that is physically exertion. Like I needed to be destroyed by the end of the session, otherwise it was a waste of a session kind of thing. So then like sitting there 15 minutes before and after a training session stretching was just seemed like a waste of time kind of thing. I could be spending an extra 15 minutes on the bike or something. But then, yeah, with triathlon, it's not about the day, it's about the next 2 days, or like you can't have one big session and then be dead for the next 2 days and then repeat that cycle, because you're not going to progress or do anything. So physically, I've really learned to trust the process, as corny as that sounds, and yeah, take the time to stretch, recover, be that ice baths, massage, stretching. Pilates I've found has really helped, so that's been good.
The core strength.
Core strength, and just when I'm keeping correct technique when I start to fatigue. That's physically. And then mentally, I've started working with a sports psych who's really helped me with just race anxiety and fear of failure, I guess, which is something that's either stops me from making start lines or not being able to push myself to more than I know that I'm capable of, if that makes sense.
And then from the mental side, obviously, it's a long race, longer than a game of basketball or whatever it might be. How do you go about keeping yourself composed through the race, physically and mentally?
Good one. I've just kind of picked up that, like at the start of a race, I'm like, I used to be like, oh my gosh, like how am I meant to just be nonstop exercising for like 4 and a bit hours? And then I'm like, wait, I catch myself and I'm like, wait, it's just you're swimming for half an hour, you're riding for 2.5 hours, and you're running for like an hour and 20 minutes. You've done this, you do this day in, day out. It's no different. Like, and that's really helped. Like, it's simple. Like everyone says it, it's simply just swim, bike, and run. Like,
keep it simple, stupid, as they say. The KISS, yeah. And then the thoughts through your head while you're racing. What are you thinking? Are you humming the lyrics to your favorite song, or are you doing something else, or is your mind drifting about the shopping list?
Well, you might find that funny, but it's actually kind of true. So like the swim, when I'm on the start line, I'm literally just get in, get out as quick as I can. Like once that's done, I can start enjoying the day and the race. And then on the bike, it's either like singing songs from High School Musical or doing math equations in my head. And then that's trying to get through 90 kilometers. That makes it pretty quick, to be honest. Yeah. And then the run is either left, right, or trying to spot people that I know and cheering them on, like the other athletes, or like spotting people's names on their running bibs that you have to wear and just like cheering that out, like, yeah, let's go Damien or something like that, and like having no idea who they are. And like I think that's why I really like triathlon, because you appreciate how hard you each have to work. So you're not really racing against them. You're just like, yeah, cool. Like you've achieved something just to being here. So that's kind of what goes through my head when and then I'm at the finish line, hopefully.
And then from the goal side of things, obviously there's time and there's positions, and you can run your PB, but finish 25th, or you can finish first and not get your PB. There's obviously different things. Coming into such a major race, and we'll touch on Townsville in a second, but what were your goals when you were 21 starting out in triathlons? Did you think, I want to be somewhere?
Yeah, I always loved high-level sport and always wanted to either go to the Olympics or just be a professional athlete, to be honest. I think, just loving sport and then not knowing career-wise in like, I guess, the norm stream of what I wanted to do. And I was always good at sport. And I love watching it on TV. I always wanted to be professional. professional athlete as the number one goal, I guess.
Coming into the race in Townsville, where you ended up becoming world champion for your age group, how does that sit with you, me saying that right now?
I don't think it's fully sunk in, or I don't think I gave myself enough time to like sit back and be like, yeah, okay, that was kind of pretty cool. Like, you're the best in the world for your age group. And I guess this is probably something I'm working on, but like, yeah, I achieved that, but then my head will go to be like, oh, well, maybe not everyone that's better than me was on the start line kind of thing. And maybe someone had a bad race or had to pull out or something, like, but then I got to accept, like, I could only race who was there on the day. That's part of sport. Like, all these external things can happen. But yeah, I had, even myself had to overcome some kind of a few things during that race. And there's many times I was like, there's no way I'm going to be able to run. There's no way I'm going to be able to finish this ride. But yet somehow I finished and yeah, got that world title, I guess. Yeah.
Hearing about the race, I think you've spoken in the past about that you hit a wall.
Yeah.
And also that, you didn't know where that wall could take you, and obviously it continued on, but then you got closer to the line.
Yeah.
Can you talk about that last little moment of getting over the line?
Yeah. It was just like, oh my goodness. I just need to lay down. Yeah, I just needed to get there as soon as possible. And it was just like, it was so hot. And I felt like, I know now that racing the heat is kind of my strength, but yeah, I just think I underestimated how hot it was. And I was just like, oh my goodness, I just need to stop. And I had my auntie there, so that was cool. So I went and saw her. And then another Australian older age group, we were kind of like toe to toe for overall winner. And she just like flew past me, and I was like, oh, I've just got nothing to. I was like, but like, we were stoked for each other, like, no matter what happens, because we know we were like pushing to our limits. So,
is she a professional?
No, she was age group as well.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So yeah, I was like, it was excitement that had finished the race, considering like an hour ago I couldn't comprehend finishing. And then two, I was just like, I was destroyed.
Was there a moment when you hit the wall, like what were you saying in your head? Were you not humming your songs anymore?
No, I was long gone. I was like, I need food, I need water. And then knowing that the next aid station, which in triathlon is where they'll have like water, electrolytes, food for you, bananas, gels, just like carbs. And knowing that was like 20 kilometers down the road, I had no water left. I finished all that like 20 kilometers ago as well. So I was just like, I was so depleted. Yeah, so it was just more of self negative talk, but also like, nah, I got to find a way kind of thing. And yeah.
And you did, and what do you reckon was what was in you to find the way? Was it just this determination of the support, the group of people that backed you through all the time, or was it something in the crowd or something to spur you on?
Yeah, no, that's a good question, because it actually was. I train with or I sometimes ride with just like a cycling group, and that have now become like good mates. And a few of them had gone through a few struggles. Like, one had his house just broken into, the other had been pretty sick, and they had they've always been like my number one fans. And like, when I would ask about them, they'd be like, no, like I'm fine. Like, how's your training going? Like, what can we do to help you? And I was like, no, I need to do it for them. And then, yeah, my auntie and family are always super supportive, and like, they had literally given up their week to be there for me. I was like, nah, I need to do it for them. And then, and I guess the fear of failure and like knowing that the pain of pulling out of a race will be more painful than dying on the bike, metaphorically.
Yep.
And then, just somehow just kept going. And just seeing, like, being able to cross that line and seeing, like, their faces and just like, oh my gosh, like, yeah, who cares what what you came in the race, like, you finished that kind of thing. Yeah.
Do you know where you were for your age group?
So I was first in my age group.
Did you know where you were through the race?
No. Not until you're like on the run and you have someone already teed up to tell you like timing splits and where you are in the run.
And
or
so
where you
maybe
are.
over the loudspeaker or something? Or,
No.
no, just someone says you're in first position for your age group. And you're like, was that a shock to you? Or you thought you were pretty close?
You never really know coming off the bike. And then I think it was only because I had my friend there, like, straight from the bike to the run, and she was like, no, you're in first. And I know my run being my strength is I hope I can just gain more distance between second. And then I'm like, I was more like, where's the first female overall? Because I kept going into the pro ranks next year, age group to me, I want to win it, but I'm not aiming to just win age group. I'm aiming to win overall age group.
Yeah, and that's that you finished fourth, is that right?
Yeah.
In overall, and then finishing fourth in the world, has obviously spurred you on to become, or one of the catalysts to drive you to become a professional.
Yeah, or just reinforces that I can be up
and
there.
You can be up. The program next year, what's the thinking around becoming a professional?
Yeah, so I've got plenty of people that are around me that I can pick their brains about, and then I'm seeking out a mentor who has been a triathlete like forever, and she really likes to support the young up and coming ones. So I'll probably do a few Asian international ones, just knowing that they're well supported and they well support us as athletes. But also because there'll be hotter races, I want to target races that I'm good at. Obviously, there'll be races that I have to adapt, or like at the moment I'm cold therapy prepping for Taupo. But say like if I was going to Dubai or something, I would heat prep or something like that. Yeah.
How do you do that in Brisbane?
The cold
Yeah.
one. Ice baths. A lot of swearing goes on. And a lot of slow, like, sliding into the ice bars. And it's awful. Yeah, it's not ideal. But like, even at the moment, it's probably worse timing because I was on the treadmill this morning in my garage and had like the fan going, had like the garage door up, and I was just like sweating bullets. Like, this is not ideal prep, but you kind of just got to just work with what you're going to get. And then, just find ways that you can cold prep. And then knowing like having a good wetsuit or having like a layer of alfoil or something, or when you go onto the bike, having arm warmers or something. Yeah, just being better prepared, I guess.
What's the process of becoming a professional triathlete? Is it something which you just say, right, I know I'm good enough, there's money involved, I can do it as a full-time job, or is there some other types of hurdles to get into?
Well, you have to win at least, I think, 1 or 2 Ironman, which is the governing body, organization, I guess, of the professional thing at the professional triathlon at the moment. So you have to win at least 1 or 2 of your age group of those, and then you submit an application in just saying your achievements or whatnot, and then usually they come back saying, yep, okay, if you take your professional license, it's an annual license, so you can't do any age group races. You have to compete in the pro field. But even as a first, second, third year professional triathlete, you're still working to being able to keep doing the sport, because one, it's expensive, and two, there's not much prize money unless you're the top pros at the moment anyways. It's definitely coming a long way, and that's where Challenge and PTO, who are, I guess, not competitive but similar to Ironman, are helping a lot. Yeah.
And you mentioned that you're teaching, and so that's the job that's reasonably flexible. And is that something that you're going to continue to renew your license to make sure that that's always there?
Yeah, so that's why I'm kind of torn, because I generally like teaching and the flexibility of it, and being able to do both at the same time. But I think, so next year I'm hoping to cut back maybe only 2 to 3 days, still have that income coming in, but then having more time to either one, train, travel, or just recover in general. Yeah.
The recovery after a race, how long does it normally take?
I'm usually pretty good. It's usually only maybe like that afternoon or the next day, but I find for me, doing some form of light activity either straight after or the next day is way more effective than just having no movement or sitting down for the day. So I feel like, my body adapts better by doing just slow movement the next day or something. And then obviously eating as well to recover from everything.
And then the life of a professional triathlete.
Yeah.
Can you talk about where you go and what you do? You already mentioned things like Dubai and heat training and whatnot, but is there a schedule for the full year that you then have to adhere by?
There are organizations that do year contracts now. There never used to be. So that's like, you'll sign the contract and you have to do a certain amount of their races. So like Ironman, you have to do a certain amount. PTO, you'll have to do a certain amount. And obviously you got to keep up with what you sign on that contract. But unless you're like in the top 20, then you're free to do whatever you want, kind of thing, for while you make your way up to those rankings. So for me, it'll probably just be like local ones within Australia and then the international ones around Asia.
And what's the one that you would love to win at the open level?
I haven't really thought too much ahead of it, to be honest. At this stage, there's obviously Kona. Everyone in the triathlon world would know Kona, but that's a full Ironman, where I don't see in the near future doing a full Ironman. I like the 70.3s, which is the half version of that. So, I guess winning one of them as a professional triathlete would be awesome. Where in the world, I have no idea. We'll start with Taupo at the end of this year, so that's
not far away.
No, that's forefront of mind at the moment. On 2 weeks, I think.
Right. Okay.
My
So you're
training
right.
program's telling
I don't
me.
know. Do people taper these days, or is that just a thing? Or
No, we still taper,
Yeah.
but that's a whole nother mind juggle in itself.
Yeah.
Like, oh my gosh, like I've cut down training so much. Like I'm going to lose fitness, blah blah blah. But
So it's a thing. You do it. Like, I mean, I'm back in my very novice schoolboy days, used to taper before a race. The day before, you just sort of calm and don't do anything, or maybe a couple of days before, and you're like, this is a bit odd. But
so no, ours is usually, again, it's different for everyone. It's how your body kind of adapts or adjusts. Sorry, but mine has seemed to be more effective 4 or 5 days out, and it's more so like the intensity will drop before the distance will drop, if that makes sense. So it's
And then from a sponsor's point of view and a monetary point of view, if you obviously love triathlons and you want to become a professional, what would be like a nirvana situation whereby then you would be able to do it for a full-time living and not go back to teaching? In terms of like, what would you need from people? You want more extra sponsors? Do you need something, TV rights or something? Is there something out there that in 5 years' time you're now going, I remember 5 years ago you only got paid X when you won a race. Now you get paid X. What needs to change?
I guess putting triathlon on the mainstream channels would definitely help. It's all even between male and female, so that's I think very rare in sport these days. So that I think triathlon as a sport has done very well there. So yeah, mainstream TV, and I guess with anything, TV is the number one for awareness in general. So TVs, and then at this stage it's more just like winning races to grab the attention of sponsors, and then having that reinforcement or backing that this athlete's worth supporting, kind of thing, which is kind of sad in a way, but I guess that's just what comes with sport, I guess.
And do you get people giving you stuff to try all the time, and the latest whiz bang protein something, or the latest shoes, etc.? And do you have to sort of knock people back, or do you give them a go?
I wouldn't say I get too many. It's more me reaching out and getting the knockbacks, but I don't take it personally. Like, it is what it is. I need the results first to be able to have any leg to stand on. But yeah, you do get a few, and it's all through like the social media channels, which is something I'm working on and slowly accepting that is part of your own brand at the moment. Being a triathlete, you are kind of your own brand, so you need to back yourself and make it seem okay to put yourself out there. But being an introvert, it's very hard.
I was going to say, on some personality traits, you seem ultra competitive. Is that correct?
Yeah.
And that's come from childhood and from your brother, and and playing with the boys in regards to cricket and soccer, and trying to be the best possible sports person.
Yeah.
Confident. I'm a little 50-50. Are you a confident person?
No, not at all. No. I don't know where that comes from or not comes from, but I just think that, I don't know, like...
Just shy, introvert, not so confident.
Yeah.
But ultra competitive.
Yeah.
What about structured?
Oh, yeah. Too structured, if you ask probably anyone. And I find it hard to adjust or go off plan, or if something pops up, I'm like, nah. Or I freak out a little bit. And I'm very like, if I have something that works, I don't like to stray from it, and it's probably super unhealthy, but at the moment training comes first. Like, everything else will get pushed aside, and I guess that limits my time with friends or making friends outside of triathlon, and to like family events or something like that. But I think being open more about like my goals and stuff has helped those people around me accept, like, okay, I may not be able to come to this or that, and that's really helped. And I think I was very like hesitant to tell people like what my aspirations were, in case I was getting laughed at, or like, no, like, you can't do this kind of thing. But yeah, so come back to the structure. I have my set routine every day, and like, I've probably eaten the same thing for the last like 3 or 4 years. Like, if you ask someone, they'll be able to tell you what my eating is like every day.
Crystal ball, I reckon you had oats for breakfast. Is that right?
Correct.
Just for listeners out there, we chatted about breakfast before this podcast. But so structured, yes. What about, I suppose, as a just on that topic around support network? Interestingly, in some of the other podcasts, some people have regretted their, I suppose, their time away from family to take what they are. Then other people have said that it's an investment from myself and them to kind of invest in me to be the best person I am. How important has been that support crew, friends, family, that have basically said, just give it everything, go for it. Doesn't matter if you don't turn up to the 5th birthday party for whoever or whatever it might be.
Yeah. No, they've been nothing but supportive, and I've been super lucky with that. And yeah, as I said before, the more I'm open about it, the more that they are accepting of it. Because coming out of school, Mum and Dad were very much like, you need to get your piece of paper, go into a real job. like mainstream, old school kind of thing. And I was like, yeah, got the uni done. And then I said to them, I was like, I'll do casual teaching for a year, and then with main priority on triathlon, I'll give myself a year, see what I can do. Because I always, in the forefront of my mind, want to impress or want to make my parents proud. So I'm like, okay, well, if they want me to do uni, then I'll do uni. And then my priority or true passion will get pushed aside. And that's nothing against them. That's just, I guess they want to see me be successful. And I guess that's in their head what success looks like. So they're like, yep, okay, cool. We'll give you, like, we'll take it on that year. And then throughout that year, they could see how much I was loving sport, loving life. But I was happy, and that, again, that's all they ever wanted. And I was doing well. And so they're way more accepting of that. And now they're nothing but supportive of triathlon, which is really cool. Yeah.
The word patient. What do you reckon? Are you a patient person?
Not one bit. Not at all, no. Even when it comes to like driving in which is bad, like driving in traffic or something, or if the GPS says like your ETA is like 15 minutes, I'm like, nah, it's 13 at least. It's 13 minimum. But yeah, and then like, yeah, I've had some very patient housemates, which has made life very easy because they've put my schedule ahead of theirs, which is good. And they know that hangry Lauren or tired Lauren is
Right. Okay. So you need some food. What about? I heard kangaroo the other day. You eat coffee.
Yeah, I hate kangaroo.
Angry is coffee. Angry. You need some caffeine.
Yeah.
Do you coffee drinker?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if it does anything, but
I get a little bit kangaroo in the morning after I don't get my flat white.
What's kangaroo mean?
Kangaroo, as in like coffee. You get instead of
Oh, I've
hangry.
never heard of that one.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah,
So you
I
learn
thought
something
you meant
every day.
do you
So
eat kangaroo?
you get no. It starts with a C. Hangry. Hungry, angry, coffee. Kangaroo isn't. You just need that first one to. Otherwise, you're a little bit on edge and a little bit snappy. I get a little bit snappy when I don't have my first coffee in the morning. I was going to say stubborn.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. I guess
It goes hand in hand with
I was
determination.
just going to say that. Yeah, more like probably a good stubborn rather than a negative impact of this word.
What about
which my mum could disagree with?
Yeah, with high performance sport, there's egos, there's talk, there's social media, there's lots of different things that you could be a persona. Looking at sort of the 100-meter men's final, everyone's got their own different characters and the way they do things, etc.
Yeah.
You being a world champion, what do you think your super strength is? I suppose, and also from your introvert but ultra competitive. I suppose, where do you think you get that? Well, where do you think you get your superpower from?
It might sound detrimental, but probably fear of failure. Just like, yeah, the pain of failure in my head is worse than any hard session or any thing that the training stimulus could input on me. And I'm a very visual person, so I've got like the Telpo poster in front of my bike or in front of the treadmill, and I just stare at that and I'm like, yeah, that'll get me through, kind of thing. Or I'll just like say to myself like 2024 world champion Lauren Hume, and just like picture me on the top of the on the top step. So I think, yeah, like visual cues and just learning to back myself, and like at the end of the day, it's just a sport. It doesn't define you. And I put a lot of pressure on like my outcome being who I am. But I've accepted like you as a person is more important than you as the athlete. So I think, just like downplaying the stress of the outcome and just learning to then love the sport. You're more relaxed and whatever happens, happens. And having that resilience, I guess, to just overcome.
Yeah, a previous guest, Dale Morris, who was an AFL player for the Western Bulldogs, used to go to the games a couple of hours earlier before everyone else and used to feel the ground, even though it was an indoor stadium. Quite funny. And like walk around the 50-metre line and get his bearings, even though he played there 15 times. And he just said, I just need to visualise the game.
Yeah.
I just need to understand what, soak up the crowd or whatever it might be before. And I did see a YouTube clip yesterday of a cricketer, Joe Root, goes out to the centre wicket and just sits there for 5 minutes in the centre as opposed to the nets, just looking around the crowd and just visualising a bowler coming in. They said that visualisation's helped him a lot.
Yeah.
When it comes to your visualisation, what about, and you mentioned before that when things go a little wrong, it's like, whoa, where you're right, you go to this venue and then all of a sudden it pours rain or it's windy or it's the ocean's choppy. How do you go about adapting?
Well, I used to freak out because I just, in general, dislike just like the atmosphere, the feeling of clouds and darkness and big waves in the ocean. So that's, I think, why I don't like swimming as well. But then I've worked with the sports psych and he's just like, look, everyone is in the same boat. It's just, it is what it is. You can't control it. There's nothing you can do about it. So why use negative energy that you could be using towards your race and positive energy? So I guess just accepting that you can't control what you can't control.
Yep. And then one final question about moving forward, life after sport. Firstly, there's some goals to achieve before you don't want to give it up now, but moving forward, you're reasonably young and you've got a life ahead of you. You mentioned teaching. What other hobbies or passions have you got?
I'm pretty boring, to be honest, and I haven't really thought about that just because there hasn't really, unless it's been like a super bad injury or something, I haven't really had the chance to think about it. But I'll definitely stay in teaching, high school teaching, be that sport. The other reason I chose sport actually was, and the high school specific, was because I wanted to help keep female athletes or female students, especially in sport, and help them realize that you don't have to be dragged out by social cues or boys or stereotypes. Because I know, like, between the ages of 12 and like 16, so there's a massive dropout of females because of that reason. And if I can be like a positive influence in keeping them in there and showing that the health benefits of sport makes you make friends, keep friends, and it only like makes you a better person and healthy and things. So definitely stay in like sport teaching in high school for that reason.
Yeah, fabulous. I agree wholeheartedly with kids that play sport and play sport most of my life as well. The networks, the friends, the camaraderie, the competitiveness as well, but also the enjoyment of reminiscing is always fun when the stories become much more exaggerated than they actually were in the past.
Yeah. Well, if you think I'm introverted now, like since starting sport, I've grown in confidence so much. So that's definitely.
Yeah, and you're on social media and being transparent and open about your goals and telling people I've got to miss parties because I'm doing this, and they're like, great, go for it. I bet that's great. It's fabulous. Yeah. Lauren, thank you so much for coming on the Scoreboard podcast today. Very much appreciate getting an insight into your sporting career and also some aspirations and goals into becoming a professional triathlete, and also keeping that balance around what life after sport and being connected to sport in general as well as teaching. And look forward to catching up.
Yeah, no, I appreciate you bringing me in, and hopefully I could share some insightful things. Yeah, I appreciate it. Thank you, Chris.